Hi, I'm Randy Justin, and it's my privilege to welcome you to this event tonight. We're so glad that you have taken time to take part in our home fellowship gatherings and to take part in our Amazed by God campaign. We're very excited about what the Lord has been doing in the life of our congregation and thrilled to see the positive momentum that the Lord has really provided for us from a spiritual perspective. And now as we prepare to make the next steps to be able to move into the future, we're delighted that God is leading the way. The Amazed by God campaign is a great effort for us to be able to take care of some of the details that have been left undone since the 2007 building of our beautiful worship center. So most of those ingredients are exterior, thinking about all the details that need to be cared for. You'll hear more about those ingredients, but I'm mostly excited about what God is doing among us as a people, as a group, coming together as the congregation. I'm thinking together about this whole issue of lifestyle generosity. Lifestyle generosity is always an interesting ingredient when we think about what it means to be people who offer ourselves sacrificially before the Lord. Not only in terms of our financial investment, but our time and our talent, our efforts in the fullest possible way as Christian disciples. And so lifestyle generosity doesn't mean giving up something that is going to be harmful or damaging to you as a family, like medical care or college education or something of that kind. But it means thinking sacrificially about some of the things that you could either give up or that you could add. Perhaps you add a way that you could provide more resources for this particular campaign or for a particular mission that you're interested in. It's a great blessing to be able to engage in that way. I think about King David, the second king of Israel from the book of 2 Samuel, when he was called to build a particular altar in a particular place. And once he announced that intention, one of his great supporters came along beside him and promised him that he would provide all of the resources and supplies and materials to make that altar possible. And King David used that moment to teach us today an incredible stewardship principle. He said that he could not give to God something that cost him nothing. And so he declined the offer of all of those resources so that he could provide them himself. Great model for us even today. Just remember that we cannot give to God something that costs us nothing. If there's nothing behind it from our own being, then there's no value for it in the future. We're excited about what God has in store for us and delighted that you are a part of this campaign effort. We'd love to be able to share more with you and excited about the journey that God has called us to. God bless you all.
Linda and I moved to Parker 13 years ago, 2002. We came to the Parker Methodist Church, first thing. But I'd tell you we stayed because of the congregation and the loving church family that we found there.
We've always worked with youth. We love teaching. We go on mission trips with them. They are so energetic and they re-energize your faith and your spirit anytime you're with them.
You know, one of the things that's always impressed me about this church was the faith that the members of this church had 25 years ago to move out of Main Street out into our current Parker Road address. That was an amazing act of faith.
We need to finish up quite a few things that got started when we did the original campaign back in 2008. The Amazed by God campaign is about completing our checklist.
No, I think now is the right time, and I think really there's a couple reasons why. I think we've got a strong vision from the leadership of the church, and I think it's time just to continue that journey. I don't really view this as another incremental step, but just an opportunity for us to continue that movement forward. I think if we stay stagnant, we're going to become just that.
I think it's important that people get involved in Amazed by God, because if you think about the impact you can have, be it small or large, it's having an impact on organizations or people's lives can be a very gratifying process. You know, I've spent my professional career helping organizations and people and teams be successful and reach their potential. And I feel right now the church is not able to achieve its potential because of some of the restrictions we have. And with the growth we've had and the turn in the economy, I think it's a good opportunity for the church to clean up what we need to in the past and really set the stage for the future.
In my life, I've had lots of churches that have been so special to me. And I know they say it's the people, the church is the people, but the building's important too. We want to create one of those buildings that we've been blessed with in the past and create one here in Parker. I think right now we need to pull together as a Christian community more than ever. And I think having the church building be I've heard it likened to a lighthouse or a beam of hope to people, and especially Parker United Methodist sitting up on the hill and everybody drives by on Parker Road. I want them to be able to look at that and say, oh, my son goes to Scouts there. Maybe that's an approachable church. And the more we can complete the building plan and make it accessible with more parking, I think that will help us reach out to more in the community, and it will become that beacon of hope and joy and bring more people to the church.
I have been at Parker United Methodist Church for 4 years.
We decided to move here to Parker 4 years ago when Cody got a job as the children's minister here at PUMC. And I didn't have a job at the time coming down, but we felt that it was a good move for us, and we took a leap of faith. I feel it's been a huge blessing. Taking that leap of faith has really paid off. My understanding of the Amazed by God campaign is 2 or 3 different things. One, it's designed to help bring the church closer together, strengthen relationships that are already strong, expand ministries that are already strong and going. And in addition to that, it is in part a capital campaign to raise money to add parking and also maybe do some improvements on the fellowship hall to expand and be able to use the full potential of the building.
I think that this is the right time for the church. Just the right people are here, the right passion and energy is here for this campaign.
You don't want to do something like this when the church is at a weak point. You want to do it when it's at a strong point to continue that momentum. And as a father of 2 young boys and a young family, we intend on being here for a while. And we want to see those things that the campaign is doing happen so that we can be a part of them.
Within the children's ministry, we're seeing so many families here, and it would be wonderful to get the space complete so that we can have a wonderful, vibrant ministry area that we can use for different programs, and I just think it's a really good time for our church.
For those that would say we don't need to do this, the church is fine, we've actually made some commitments to the city back when we did the original building that these things would be done. So the city's been great to us, and it's our duty really to do this, and the church isn't finished.
It's probably been about 5 years since we finished the sanctuary, and it would be great to start now and finish it up so we can actually start using the whole facility and start getting the full benefit of what we started years ago.
As a visitor, the first thing you do when you open the car door, your foot hits the ground, and what's it hit? It hits rocks or not a good parking lot. So it's your first impression, and I think it's necessary. It's also a hazard. You know, we have some good winter here, and we have parking lots that are sloped and gravelly and tough for some people to walk on. So I think that is an important thing.
The fact that it's not really glamorous projects, working on parking lots and landscaping and sidewalks and stuff like that doesn't seem like a good thing, but I think the important thing is to keep in mind that in order to grow our church and in order to really have more of an impact on the community and bring God more into our community, we need to take this step so that we can utilize our fellowship hall better and really grow our church.
I think with Randy's leadership, the church has gained a lot of momentum, and I think it's a great time to build on that momentum.
I think it's a good time. I think with the leadership that brought us into this new building that we have and did the best to get it completed, but there's still things to do. We have new leadership in Randy. He's been here a while. They've looked at it and not jumped into anything, made a informed look at it, and I think it's time to do it, move forward.
In order for us to keep growing, I think we really need to start doing some of these projects so that we can really utilize the whole church.
This campaign will do 2 things. Not will it only help the church achieve some financial goal, but it really challenged the members of the congregation to look inside, deep inside. Even if they don't give financially, I believe they'll become a better person and have a closer walk with God.
Well, I think this campaign is quite different than anything I've experienced before or anything I was expecting when I agreed to co-chair the campaign. In the past, when I was involved in an activity like this, the objective for me was, let's just go get some money from people. And let's ask them for money, and whatever kind of pressure they felt, whether it was coming from us or the Lord, that's great. But it wasn't a designed program to help people understand what it means to them and their relationship with God to give sacrificially. Well, what I hope to see unfold for the church is a continuation and maybe even acceleration of the path that I feel that we're on already. I see a dynamic excitement within this church. I see lots of people wanting to be involved, and the campaign is bringing that out to me. I'm seeing it because we have hundreds of people who are actually involved in the campaign, and they're excited about it. There's an energy about it just in this campaign, let alone all the other missions that go on in this church. So I guess if I could look into the future, I think the people in this congregation and their relationships with each other will be accelerating in a very positive way.
Hank, as a member of the Board of Trustees, you probably know as much as anyone about the projects that we're undertaking. Can you tell us some about the projects that we're going to be investing in?
You bet, thanks. Want to talk a little bit about the nature of the projects that we've got planned. The church has gone through several expansions, and this latest one required us to expand the parking lots to provide enough parking space for the members attending services. Currently we have around 260 parking spaces, mostly unpaved. That was a condition that we established with the town of Parker so that we could phase the work over a period of time. The additional parking will bring us up to around 320 spaces.
Tell us some of the specific costs, Hank, if you could, about the projects, the parking, the drainage, the landscaping, all those details.
Under current estimates, based on locally available estimating guides, we're looking at around $250,000 to pave the existing parking areas and another $300,000 to develop and pave the additional parking spaces. On top of that, we do have one other major project, and that is to extend a sidewalk along Parker Road to connect the properties south of us and future properties to the north. And that is included in the $300,000 for the additional paving work. The agreement that we made with the town of Parker does also include a master plan that has extensive landscaping requirements, and in order to do those, it's another $100,000 to $105,000 to develop that and to meet all the final conditions for our master plan.
And when we add up all of those projects, what is the estimated total for all those projects to be able to complete our agreement with the town of Parker?
Yes, when we add up the paving of existing parking, future parking, the sidewalk along Parker Road, the landscaping, additional drainage improvements, and sealing of the outside of the building, we have a total over $700,000 for the complete project.
Hank, I know that we've been living with a temporary occupancy permit from the town of Parker since the time we completed the sanctuary project. Can you tell us what would be in store for us once those occupancy issues are completed?
Yes, we've been under a temporary occupancy permit from the town of Parker because as we phase out the work, we were not able to complete the full scope of the requirements. Full parking, full landscaping, full site access, for financial reasons primarily. Once all the requirements are completed and approved by the town, we will gain full occupancy of the site. Now what that really will do is allow us greater use of the fellowship hall. We'll be able to make modifications to the rest of the building as needed, and currently, under our current restrictions, we're unable to do that.
It was the 2007 sanctuary project that it was necessary for us to take on a little bit more debt than what we anticipated. Can you tell us about where we are currently with the debt?
Yes, the debt currently to pay for the facility as it sits right now is around $3.3 million. That has in some ways hampered our ability to move ahead with completing the improvements, and so that's all got to be wrapped into the financial needs for this campaign.
Sacrificial giving is certainly a new concept for me. I have to say, in the past, when I was younger, I had no concept of sacrificial giving. In fact, my concept of giving was, what's the least amount I can give and not feel guilty? And I think that's probably not that uncommon of a viewpoint. We give what we can in our minds, and we don't want to feel guilty about it. When you go beyond that and learn a new concept of giving to the Lord, and the slogan, "I will not give to God that which costs me nothing," I think really emphasizes that concept. I'm so happy to be involved in the campaign in that way. I know the money will come, but I think what happens to this congregation, many of the people in the congregation, in their growth on their walk with God, as a result of this campaign, will be equally important to this church.
Giving for us for the last few years has been difficult because when we moved here, my husband didn't have a job when we took this job, so it was a step out on faith. Within that, we were faithful in our giving, and God has provided for us.
And sometimes those checks, 'cause when we were still struggling, were hard to write. I'd get a big check from a freelance job, and it would have been nice to keep all of it. We could have used it, but it felt good the whole time to give that to God, because He kept giving back. He kept expanding what I was doing, giving me new leads, giving me new contacts. In my opinion, has blessed my life and my family's life because of it.
For our family, sacrificial giving can be very scary. However, we feel that when God calls us that it's time to move, and so for us that means making sacrifices and eating out, maybe going to places and parks that are for free, doing some of those fun things within our family, but still being able to give to God, being able to make those sacrifices.
I think sacrificial giving, it needs to be something beyond what you're currently doing, but it also still needs to be within a level that you don't resent giving it.
Stewardship is a struggle sometimes on faith, but is a place that we can step out in obedience and see how God is there to meet us.
Well, I think sacrificial giving to me is making a commitment. It's making a faithful commitment to the journey that we want to go on as a church and as a family. We're headed in a great direction with Randy as our leader right now. I see our church coming together in beautiful ways. All elements of our church seem to be blossoming and growing. And I think now's the perfect time to take these steps. It's your commitment and your love for what you're doing that makes you want to give.
For me personally, it's really going to challenge me on a personal level and a spiritual level how much more I can give and what kind of minor sacrifices or major sacrifices I can do.
I think it's important to, give back to God and to make that sacrifice, to figure out what you can change in your life.
It's a great opportunity for us to look at our lifestyle and see what we can do to sacrificially change that a little bit.
I've given a lot of thought to sacrificial giving, and there's part of me that feels that the term sacrificial it's kind of a negative term. I understand it from a biblical perspective, but I think it kind of scares people away, and it doesn't have to. I think if you look at it from the perspective of lifestyle generosity, of what can I do differently that might free up funds. I think everybody now, funds are tight, and we've got kids in college and a wedding, but when I started looking at it from that aspect of what can I do differently? What can I change in my life where it will impact me, but where I'll feel it, but it doesn't need to be painful. As I think was said, God doesn't want us to be miserable and suffer, but just give in a way where you are cognizant of the fact that you're giving and you're doing something differently, and you're doing it for a good reason, and you'll feel good about it.
It really feels good to me to give back some of what God has given me.
I'd like to thank you for taking time to be here with us tonight. I hope that you found this evening to be inspirational and informative. Hope you've met some new friends and that you've had a chance to be able to have some really wonderful fellowship together. We're excited about what God is doing among us, not only through the Amazed by God campaign, but simply because of the relationships that are being built and the commitment that we're making to the Lord. Hope to see you on Sunday. Look forward to that very, very much. God bless you all.
So the world will know, Take hold of us, fill us with your Holy Spirit. Take hold of us and fill us with your love. Let your kingdom come.